Okay, so welcome everyone. This is Premier Chess Winter Virtual Adult Beginner Class Winter 2021, and this is week 1, and we're going to discuss Queen Sacrifice. So let me ask you all. So what is the purpose of a Queen Sacrifice? Why would somebody want to do a Queen Sacrifice? What do you guys think?
To enable you to attack or to checkmate.
Okay, so gain a checkmate. That's definitely a very big reason to do a queen sacrifice. Another reason could be to win material, right? Another reason could be to improve your position, right? Gain positional advantage. So quite a few reasons to do queen sacrifice, right? Okay, so this position is this is a pretty famous queen sacrifice. It went down in history. It has a special name. Any of you familiar with this position, by the way? Nobody? Okay. Okay. So here, what do you, well, I'll see if you guys can figure it out. So, white to move. What do you think the best move is here for white? What do you think?
Knight takes pawn at E5.
Okay. Are you familiar with this position, Michael?
No.
Okay, cool. Okay. So, knight takes E5. Okay. So now that looks like a very interesting move because you would think that the knight would not want to leave F3 because the bishop is pinning the knight to the queen, right? And we know that the queen is very valuable. So most instances we would not want to move the knight. But why do you choose to move the knight onto E5, Michael? Let me just analyze your thought process. So what if the bishop takes?
Bishop takes, pawn takes, F7, forking. I take that back. I take that back. Bishop takes, pawn at F7 check.
Okay, so knight takes E5, bishop takes D1, and then you said bishop takes F7. You said bishop takes F7, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and king goes to E7, and now what do you think the best move is here?
Moves to E7.
Yep, E7, and then next move?
Knight from C3 to D5, check.
Knight C3 to D5 and check, and that is not only check, it is mate. So here, knight takes E5, right? And the only reason that this combination works is because this bishop is unprotected, right? So let's say this knight was on F6, right? If we went knight takes E5, it wouldn't work now because he can just take back the knight and the bishop is protected, right? But because the bishop's not protected, if he chooses, instead of taking the queen, if he chooses to take the knight, then we actually just win a pawn, right, in the process. So the reason this really works is because the bishop's not protected, right? So knight takes E5, bishop takes D1, bishop takes F7, and knight D5 is mate. So this is known as Legal's mate, right? Legal's mate. And it's pretty famous checkmate. I think it's the name of a chess player in history that first used this. So it's a beautiful combination of the three minor pieces: the bishop controlling E8 and E6, the E5 knight controlling D7, and then protecting the bishop, and the knight on D5 attacking the king and preventing escape on F6. So beautiful coordination of the three minor pieces. Everybody see that? Pretty clear? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. All right, so let's go on to the next position. All right. So here, what do you think is the best move here? The theme of so here's the thing with this lecture, since it's the theme sacrifice, queen sacrifice, everybody is going to look for a queen sacrifice. So what I really want to hear is not only a queen sacrifice, I want to hear your full answer, the full variation, right? Not just all the ways that you can lose your queen. there's many ways you can lose your queen, right? I'm sure we've all lost our queen many times. So I want to hear a complete variation, if there is one.
Is it white to move?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. In this position, yeah, white to move here.
And the queen sacrifice leads white to a stalemate, a win, a draw.
Well, okay. So what was the reason that we said a queen sacrifice? We said checkmate. We said increase in material, or we said an improvement in position, right? So I'll just say those things. I'll just say those things and see if you can figure this one out. What do you think?
If I was looking at this game as black, my major concern would be a stalemate for white.
Okay, so what do you think?
So what I'd try and do is, you have the chance to cash a couple of these pawns. I would work like crazy to try and advance them.
No, it's white's move. White to move, not black to move.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
How about queen f2?
Queen f2. So why queen f2?
It appears that it forces the black queen to exchange queen, or to take the white queen, but there is a move that actually black can play that would not result in a stalemate. But if black takes the white queen on f2, it will be a stalemate.
So yeah, so queen f2 is the move, an amazing move. So so here let's look at the position. First of all, whenever we look at any position, right, we think first we evaluate the material. So who's winning in material here?
Black.
Black is definitely winning, right? Black's got extra 3 pawns, right? So so then the second thing we evaluate is position, right? Who's winning positionally? So black's winning materially, black's also winning positionally as well. So basically white's losing, right? And so whenever you're on the losing end, sometimes there are ways that you can force a draw, right? Which it's another reason why you should never resign prematurely, right? So many beginners that I see resigning prematurely when they're down, queen or rook or minor pieces, or sometimes even a pawn. Some beginners get really disheartened with being down a pawn, and they say, "Oh no, I'm never going to come back." So yeah, never try not to resign prematurely, because there's always ways to come back, right? And this is a very good example of that. So queen f2 forces a draw. How does it force a draw? So Monty, you said it doesn't force a draw. So why do you say that?
Well, I think the black queen can retreat to b6.
Okay, can the black queen retreat to b6? What do you all think?
No.
No, that would be a horrible move. Now we have check, and then it's going to be mate on the next move, right? So that's no good. So the queen is forced to take, or else black will lose his queen, right? So he is forced to take, and that is a stalemate, and that is much better than a loss, right? So we should always be on the lookout for those kinds of saving graces, right? Sometimes they're handed to us, and you got to be always vigilant. Okay. Good. Next one. Okay, so white to move. What do you think the best move is here for white?
Knight takes pawn at f7.
All right, let's see. Okay, so knight takes f7. Okay, and then what? And then king h7. Now what?
I'm sorry, I had it and I lost it. I think bishop takes, white bishop takes rook at g6 check.
Okay, bishop. Yeah, bishop takes g6, rook takes g6, and now any other follow up?
Yeah. I guess I don't. I was going to say knight to g5 check.
Mm-hmm.
That pawn is pinned. If the rook takes, though,
Yeah. So
can you you'd cash that pawn, I think.
yeah. So actually, knight takes. So on the theme of queen sacrifice, knight takes f7 is not the correct move, but knight takes f7 does lead to checkmate, though. You know, and it's not congruent with the theme of queen sacrifice, but it does lead to checkmate. But you missed the checkmate. Knight takes f7, king h7. So what's the best move? Better than bishop takes g6. What do you think? What do you
Pawn
all-
to g5.
Okay, pawn to g5. No, I mean there's not much that black can do anyway, but maybe you know, to prolong his life, maybe he can do something like this, and now his king has an escape square here, right? Right. So yeah, so we need something a little bit more forceful than that. What do you think? What does everyone think?
Knight to g5. Did we say that?
Okay, so knight g5, and then the king goes back, and now we basically have repeated the position, right? So we don't want to repeat the position. So what do you
What if
think?
queen takes that rook?
Okay, queen takes g6,
Oh,
rook takes g6, and now what's the follow up?
How about the white rook on, oh no, never mind. Forget I said anything.
Okay. So all right, so we need a stronger follow-up than stronger than bishop takes g6 and stronger than queen takes g6. Even though that is a queen sacrifice, but not the correct queen sacrifice.
Well, I'm guessing queen to h6.
Queen h6. Wow, look at this move. Isn't that amazing? Queen h6 is mate. I think you all were forgetting that this rook is pinned to the king, right? So this is a mate. So knight takes f7 is a mate in 2.
oh,
However, this is not a mate in 2 with a queen sacrifice, right? So yeah, but it is a mate in 2. But okay, so now see if you can find the mate in 2 with a queen sacrifice.
Queen, let's see, knight to f7, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
queen to f5.
No. So we already did this. So this is the one
Oh,
with
you did? Okay.
knight takes f7 and then queen takes h6. This is the mate in 2. So I'm saying instead of
No, queen to oh well, f5. I was saying.
yeah, but that's not mate either. So knight takes f7 is one mate. So now my question is, what's the other mate? That's not that doesn't begin with knight takes f7. There's another mate here, using the theme of queen sacrifice. What do you guys think?
Queen takes h6.
Queen takes h6. Okay, without me moving the pieces. Rook takes h6, and now what?
Knight takes f7.
Excellent. Very good. Everybody see that? Queen takes h6 is a very good, what's known as a deflection sacrifice, right? Deflecting the rook away from g6, exposing the bishop. The bishop now controls h7 and g6. and with the help of the pawn controls G7, and now the knight drops in to deliver a beautiful checkmate, and all these squares are controlled by bishop, knight, and pawn. All right, beautiful example of a queen sacrifice there. Deflection sacrifice. Everybody see that? All right. So if there's any questions with anything, just let me know, and I'll go over it again, okay? Let me know. If I'm going too fast, let me know. All right. So this is a game between Magnus Carlsen was white. Everybody know who Magnus Carlsen is?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So Magnus Carlsen's white. Say again?
Ernie.
So Magnus Carlsen's white, and what is the best move for white here?
Queen H5, H2 to queen to H6.
Okay. Okay. So like I said, I know you all are going to be looking for ways to lose your queen, right? So
Yes.
so I want to hear a variation. So give me a
Oh,
variation.
Queen
so,
to H6.
So queen takes H6. I'm not going to move the piece. Let's see if you can visualize it.
Okay,
Queen takes
king
H6.
takes-
King takes H6. Now what's the follow-up?
Rook F2 to H2.
Okay, very good. Rook H2 check. Now let's say the king moves to. Okay, so the king has one square G6. Now what? What's the follow-up? You see it?
Bishop to E4.
Okay, so if we go bishop B4, now the knight can capture, and yeah, we don't want to lose any pieces. So, okay, so see, can anybody see it? Queen takes H6, king takes H6, rook H2, king G6. Now what? Should I move the pieces?
Rook on H. Is that moved already? I don't know.
Yeah.
H2.
Yeah, rook's on H2.
To H6.
Okay, so you want to sacrifice the rook now. So king take. Well, I think we're sacrificing too much now. Okay, so let me move the pieces so we make it a little bit clear.
I would take that back.
That's okay. It's okay. Rook, queen takes H6, king takes H6, rook H2 check, king G6. And now my question is, what is the best move for white here? What do you think?
What about bishop? Sorry.
That's okay. Bishop to E4.
So, okay, so Nancy said bishop E4, and that doesn't work because now black
that's
can
right.
trade.
Right.
And
So
now
then maybe
the queen will be activated.
H5.
Right.
Say again?
Bishop to H5.
Bishop H5, yes, bishop H5. The knight does a very good job of controlling F5, so the king cannot escape this way. So the king is forced back. It doesn't matter where the king goes, H7 or H6. Let's say he goes to, I don't know, let's say he goes to H7. So what's the best move here?
Bishop takes F7.
Bishop takes F7. Beautiful move, right? Bishop takes F7. Discovering a check on the king. The king cannot cannot escape to the G file at all, and his rook on G8 is blocking his escape on G8. So this is basically mate. He has one move to delay it, and after that it's mate. So yeah, beautiful queen sacrifice, exposing the king, destroying his pawn shelter. And does anybody know the name of this type of mate? Anybody know? So if this was on the 8th rank, this kind of mate, see that this mate is on the H file, right? But if it was on the 8th rank, this would be known as what? What's it called?
Backrank Mate.
Backrank mate, yeah. And so usually it's pawns that obstruct the king's escape, right? The king is not able to escape, and maybe a rook or a queen is delivering a backrank mate, right? But here the same sort of mate is happening, but on the H file, right? The king cannot escape the H file because they're all protected or controlled, and so this is called corridor mate or Anastasia's mate. Okay, that's the name of this one. So basically the same thing as a backrank mate, just on the side file. Could be on the H file. It could also be on the A file. All right. All right. Very nice. Good job. Good job. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Any questions, by the way, with that one? Or was that pretty clear? Pretty good? Okay. All right. So let's see. Queen. Okay. A theme of queen sacrifice. White to move. What do you guys think here? So remember, I want to hear full variations.
If white's knight at F3 takes black knight at E5,
Mm-hmm.
the black bishop takes the white queen, the
Mhm.
white bishop moves to B, what is that, 5?
Okay.
Check.
Yep.
And the only recourse it has to avoid mate is queen to block, knight takes, and or rook, bishop takes for mate.
So which one do you think is better, knight takes or bishop takes?
Bishop.
Bishop takes. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if we can continue. Knight takes E5. Bishop takes D1. Bishop B5. Queen is forced to block. Bishop takes on D7. King
And then
goes to
escapes of the
D8.
black.
Any interesting follow up you see after that, or should I move the pieces?
Yeah. No, the white knight, which is returned to E5, then takes the pawn at F7 and will take that rook.
Very nice. Knight takes E7, knight takes F7, forking king and rook. Okay, so let's make the moves and let's see how this plays out. Knight takes E5. So this is another example of a so Michael and Roy. So do you know the two different types of pins? Because I know my other students do. There are two different types of pins. Do you know, Michael?
I do not.
No.
Okay, so let me hear from my my other students, Gregory or Nancy or Monty. What do you think? Two different types of pins.
I was afraid you were going to ask that.
It's a
One
test.
is-
It's a test.
One is a regular pin and one is a royal pin. When you pin the king?
No. Okay, so there's two different types. It's called a relative pin and absolute pin. So an absolute. Any idea what they mean? No, Monty. Any idea?
Sure. The absolute pin is when you're pinned to a king, and a relative pin is some other piece where you could actually suffer the loss.
Right, right. So an absolute pin is where you cannot move the piece because it's pinned to your king, and you can never put yourself in check, so you cannot move the piece at all. It would be against the rules to move the piece. But a relative pin is, and this would be an example of a relative pin. The knight is pinned to the queen, so you can move the knight. You will lose your queen. In most cases, it's a bad idea. Sometimes it's a good idea, right? In this case, it definitely is a good idea. So knight takes E5 check. Sorry, no check. Knight takes E5. Bishop takes D1. Bishop B5. And again, the only reason this works is because the bishop is now left this light square diagonal, so cannot come back here to protect this king. And the queen is the only piece that can protect the king. All right, so queen must block. Bishop takes D7, king D8, and knight takes F7 check. King takes, and yeah. So here you don't. It would be a better idea to not take the rook so quickly,
Not
because
going
you take the
anywhere.
rook and now the bishop is free, and now your knight is most likely trapped, right? So much better is take your time, because the rook's not going anywhere, right?
Why wouldn't you, rather than take with the king, why wouldn't you take with the knight and then you preserve the castle if you want?
True, that's true. You could do that also. But typically when the queens are off the board, castling is less necessary, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So it's not as important, right? When queen, especially when the queens are gone, it's a little bit safer for the king. Although if two rooks are still on the board and a bunch of minor pieces, it can still be dangerous. But for the most part, it's pretty safe. Okay. So king takes d1. The rook is not going anywhere, is trapped. So take a moment and capture the bishop that can escape fairly quickly, and then you can pick up the rook right there. And now look at this position now. Look at the material difference now in the position. White is winning by a rook and a knight. He may lose this knight, right? It may become trapped, but even if he does lose the knight, he would still be ahead in an entire rook. So very nice combination indeed. Okay, everybody see that? All right, good job. So basically what I'm saying is that when your queen is pinned, or when a piece is pinned to your queen, you should not always discount the possibility of moving the pinned piece if there's sufficient reason to do so, right? Sometimes you have a really good reason to do so, and so you should always consider. So basically consider as many possibilities as possible, right? This is the one thing that I see distinguishes masters from beginners, is masters tend to consider all possibilities, whereas maybe a beginner might look at this position and say, well, there's no reason, I don't want to lose my queen, so I'm not going to move this knight. So and then the beginner would never even consider that combination, right? So you got to have an open mind, a flexible mind, right, to always consider these kinds of things. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so this is a game between Nana Gabrindashvili, which is she was a world champion a few decades ago, and she is black. And so using the theme of queen sacrifice, what do you think the best move is here for black? What do you think?
Queen to G4.
Queen to G4. Okay, so what's the follow-up there? So you're going to lose your queen. Okay, what's the follow-up?
Bishop.
Actually, you know what? You know what? Forget that. White has an even better move than even taking your queen, which is what? What's White's better move?
Oh, white has mate.
Yeah.
Queen to A8.
Queen to A8 or rook to A8.
Oh, yeah.
Both, right? White has two ways to mate. So we got to be very careful. We got to do very powerful, forceful moves here, because white is ready to destroy black right here. So what can black do in this position?
Well, whatever black does, it has to keep white in mate, and it can't let white move that knight, or else we'll have a chance to escape, right?
Right.
So if it loses tempo, it's lost.
Yeah. So we got to do very powerful moves, right? Because mate is threatened in one move.
So queen's got to go to C1.
Okay, so capture the rook. Capture the rook with check. Okay. The queen is forced to recapture. And now what's the follow-up?
I still, for some reason, wait, he's supposed to recapture. Still, for some reason, like my bishop, I don't know why, to D4. It's black's move, right?
Yeah, black's move. Yeah, bishop. Okay, so you say bishop D4. Okay, maybe he just goes G3, and now he's got an escape square for the king, right? So all right, so let's see. So queen takes C1. Queen takes C1, and Roy said bishop D4. But this move is quite slow, not too forceful. Now you're giving white a chance to breathe. and now he can make love for his king. Now he has an escape square for the king.
Okay.
So we need a stronger move than bishop d4. So the correct move is queen takes c1. That's the correct move. And now what's the best
So
move
what
here?
about bishop to h2?
Okay, bishop takes h2, king takes h2. Now what's the follow-up?
It's got to be a rook. E2? No, wait.
Okay, rook to e2, and now we have
That's-
the
it's
mate
not
threat.
force-
Now we have the mate
not-
threat once again.
Not forceful enough.
Yeah, mate will be unavoidable here. So, so it's not bishop takes h2. So what else? What else can we do here?
But bishop takes b2.
Okay, bishop takes b2. So why does that work? Bishop takes b2 is attacking queen and rook. That's a weird move, right? We just gave up our queen. Why would we be giving up our bishop now? What's the reasoning behind it?
Queen's going to take the bishop.
What happens if the queen takes the bishop?
Then you can back rank with rook
Oh,
to
wow.
e1.
Rook e1, yeah. So
Wow.
white has a back rank weakness, right?
Right.
These the two pawns and the knight are blocking the king's escape, right? So this queen cannot leave the back rank whatsoever. So for that reason, bishop takes b2 is a pretty powerful move, right? If
Wow.
it takes it, the back rank mate occurs. So he doesn't take. So in the game, white went rook a8 check, trying to get some counterplay desperately. King takes e8, queen c6 check, king b8, g3, and the game went on. Yeah, so here black is up a pawn, and probably I believe black won this because usually in the end game, two rooks, especially if they're connected this way, are usually stronger than a queen. Two rooks are usually stronger than a queen. And this being an open position, black has the bishop, so bishops thrive in open positions, whereas knights tend to be very slow, right? So that's another reason why black has the advantage here. So yeah, beautiful combination, using the idea of queen sacrifice combination with a back rank weakness, right? Everybody see that? Pretty good. Okay. No, any questions, by the way, or should we move on? We're good. Okay, cool. Okay, next. Okay, so does everybody know Josh Waitzkin? Everybody knows who Josh Waitzkin is?
No.
Okay, everybody saw the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so he was the main chess player that was featured in that movie. He was a child prodigy, and so it was basically about his rise in the chess world, being a child prodigy, right? So this game was played by Josh Waitzkin. He's this is in 1987. He was probably around maybe like 9, around that age, something like that. And this is the first time that he was playing a master. Black is a master, and black moved knight b2, attacking rook and the unprotected a4 pawn. And what do you think little 9-year-old Josh Waitzkin played as white here?
Queen to g7.
Yeah.
Okay, queen takes g7. Okay, I understand your reasoning in the sense that you're looking to give up your queen because we're doing queen sacrifice, but it's too
Wait,
soon.
wait.
Too soon. Too
Bish-
soon.
too soon?
Yeah,
Go
too
ahead.
soon because here
Mm,
black doesn't really have enough sorry, white doesn't really have enough to attack the king. We can go maybe bishop
Yeah.
f6, something like that. But
Right.
now he goes king g6, and now where's the follow-up?
Well, the follow-up
On-
has got to be getting the E rook onto the G file, but that's 2 moves away.
Okay, so we go we go to e3 and threatening to come on g3. Now he has a chance to play, let's say, h6. Now he can hide kind of here, or maybe sorry, even better.
Oh, he can't.
Even better, sorry, even better would be, let me go back. Even better would be h5, right? So now he can hide here. And now there's not really much of a follow-up here, right? You can deliver a check here, but yeah, it's kind of hard. So yeah, so the queen sacrifice. So this game, this combination does involve a queen sacrifice, but it's too soon. So what is the prerequisite move? What do we need to do first? What do you think?
I think you have to get that pawn out of G7,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know why you have to.
Okay, that's good. The first thing is establishing what we need to we need to do, the goal, right? Yeah, so we want to draw the king out somehow, right? Most likely with the queen sacrifice, since that's the theme of the lecture. So any other ideas of what Josh Waitzkin played on this move?
Knight to F5.
Knight to f5. All right, so now you're threatening mate here. Okay, now you can just take and yeah.
There's that white bishop too.
Yeah, not much follow-up. Yeah, the bishop is
Mhm.
protecting the pawn. So okay, so we need what else do you got? Anything else?
What if you post the black? If you post the black, no, that's still the. If you
Well-
post the black bishop on F6, he has to take with the pawn.
Okay, so we go bishop f6 now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he doesn't have to take the bishop though. He can go rook here. Right?
That's
he's not-
absolutely correct.
He's not forced to take the bishop, right? So yeah.
I guess I was looking to
Or-
double the queen and bishop on the G rank.
Or he could take here and then move
Yeah.
the rook here, and now he's pretty safe. And now, we move the queen away, and now he can double up here and attack the pawn and things like that. So yeah. So not bishop f6. Anything else? What do you guys think?
You got ways to lose my queen.
Look at all the ways you can lose your queen. Yeah, I love this. I love this this lecture because that's what everyone loves to lose. Okay, now I'm told to lose my queen. Some people are like, that's what I'm good at.
And black's default next move is, you're going to lose one of your rooks if you leave it on D1.
Right. So what do you think?
How about
Push the
it's my last chance? The queen to E6.
Queen. Oh, whoa! You're sacrificing it here. Okay. No, it doesn't really help much. Now you just opened his F file, activated his rook. The queen can come here now and
Forget it.
gain an attack. Yeah. So okay, I'll give you guys a hint. The first move is not a queen move. Yeah, not a queen move.
About F5.
Okay, so I think Nancy said F5, right? Or no, you said knight F5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said knight F5. Okay, so F5, E takes F5. So remember, when you're attacking, you don't want to trade pieces, right? So if you take back with the knight, black would be only too happy to trade his bishop, because look at the bishop here. would we say that this bishop is a good bishop or a bad bishop? What do you think? Yeah, you see all these pawns on the light squares, right? So the bishop is basically blocked by his own pawn. So the bishop's not doing much here anyway. And if you go f5, you're actually helping the bishop to be activated, and black would love to trade his bishop for this very powerfully centralized knight, right? So you're actually doing black a favor by playing f5. So yeah. What else? Anything else?
What did you just say? The centralized knight? I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, right here. See, the knight is in this. This knight has
Oh,
a beautiful.
I take it back. I understand.
Yeah. Knight has a beautiful location in the center, and yes, compared to this bishop, bishop is not very happy at all. This knight is doing wonderfully, right? Very beautiful position, right? So, so yeah, black would love to trade his bishop for that. Anything else?
Well, bishop e7.
Say again.
Bishop to e7.
Bishop to e7. No, you just lose your bishop for nothing. Okay. So, yeah, this first move is a little bit difficult to spot, but I'll say this: Michael did mention the first move, but you did it in the wrong move order. So the first move is rook to e3. So I don't know if this makes you feel good or bad about yourselves that a 9-year-old found a move like this. How does it make you feel? So yeah, so the master attacked Josh's rook, and his response was, "I don't care. I'm going to go rook e3." And so, of course, the master, seeing his 9-year-old opponent across the board from him, said, "I don't believe." He says, "I want to call your bluff. I don't believe that you got a combination up your sleeve." And so he took the rook, right? And so now what is the combination now? What do you think?
Rook to g3.
Okay, so we go to rook g3. Now we're giving black time to protect, right? I mean, it's still maybe winning actually, but yeah, but we're giving him time to do, or maybe he can just do that, right? That might be
But
better.
what about the bishop? Wait. If you do that, the bishop goes to f6.
Okay. In this position?
Yeah.
In this position, yeah. Bishop goes to f6.
Oh, wait. That's
we
no
can take.
good. No,
yeah.
No,
There's,
so
there's giving up the queen.
Yeah. You are giving up a queen, but it's not a sound sacrifice. We want a sound sacrifice, right?
Yes.
can you go back?
Yeah.
Queen, and then the rook has to go back to the F file. So, yeah, so at that point, it would be queen takes pawn now.
Good. Queen takes g7 now, forcing king takes g7, and now what?
Now it would be bishop to f6.
Good. Bishop f6 brings the king outward, because now the king is not able to hide on the h8 square, right? If the king moves back, what's the best move here?
Then you bring your rook across.
Yeah, now we bring the rook, and that's mate, right? So the king cannot move back to g8, so he moves out, right? So let's say he goes to h6. Okay. Now what's the best move here?
I think you have to check with the bishop and then move the rook over.
Check with the bishop. Okay, so check here, right?
Yeah.
Check here. Okay, and now king goes to g6, and now what?
Now move the rook to g3.
Okay, so rook g3.
He only has one move. Well, then you can go back and forth, because if you then
Yeah, so here, now you're giving black an extra move, right? So this is not a check move, right? So now he's got a free move basically. So maybe he goes something like that, you know. So it might still work, but it's kind of unclear. Um, yeah, it probably would still work. Yeah, it probably would still work. Do you see a mate here? See if you can find the mate.
Isn't the mate getting that rook up to h6? No, no, it's not.
H6.
Sorry.
No. No. What do you think? Where's the mate here?
In how many moves?
Well, there's a few different mates in a a couple of in different moves. So there's a few different mates here. I see a mate. I see a mate in 2, and then I see a mate in, like, I don't know, 4, something like that. Yeah, mate in 4.
Is it a
One,
common?
Does anybody see the mate in 2?
Is that bishop f6?
Okay, bishop f6, and then let's say the king moves back to f7, and now
Now rook g7.
yeah, rook g7 would be mate, so that's mate in 2. Okay, so now let's look for the mate in 4. So again, bishop f6. So now let's say the king moves to h6. Okay, now what do we do?
Don't you have to move the knight to f3?
Okay, so if we move the knight to f3, now you're giving black a chance to come back, because again, that's not a check, right? So let's say he can come something like this, and now it gets a little messy. It's a little complicated, right? So we got to make sure we're constantly checking, because we just gave up our queen on g7, right? So we don't want to give black a chance to breathe and reorganize, right? So king h6, and what's the next move?
Bishop g7.
rook to g5. Knight to f3.
Danilo, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay, so that was the mate in 4. Very good, very good. So let's go back. Okay, so bishop f6 check, king h6. So now so that line, that variation was if we did bishop g6 g5 check, right? But the most forceful move that you don't give black a chance to breathe is what? We need a more stronger move, or yeah, just a different move than bishop g6, because bishop g6 g5, sorry, actually blocks the g file, so the rook doesn't have a check. That's the problem with bishop g5. So what do you think is a better move than bishop g5?
Rook to h3?
Yes, rook to h3. Very good. Rook to h3. King comes back to g6, and now best move.
Four.
What do you think?
Well, it's not a checking move, but then if you move knight to F3, threatening knight to H4, isn't that?
Yeah, yeah. Again, knight f3 is not a checking move, so you're giving now black a chance. Maybe
Yeah.
go h5
Hmm.
and then hide here or here, right? So we don't want to give black a chance to hide.
Right.
So what do you think?
Rook to H7.
Okay,
White
rook to h7. We're gonna lose our rook, and now we have a bishop and a knight. We can't really mate. Yeah, it's too much loss of material. So what else? Rook h3, king g6. So now what?
F5.
F5, we have takes, and now what? I mean, actually, that still might win. Yeah, that still would win actually, but F5 is not necessary though. Yeah, that still would win. But yeah, what else? Okay, so
What if you do pawn to G4?
pawn to G4. Again, I think the H4 pawn will come up, and that's going to give black too much. Yeah, it's going to give him a free move there. So maybe he can bring the rook into the game, try to do that. Yeah. So okay, so in this position, the rook came over to h3, right, to push the king onto the g file. Now the rook comes back, rook to g3, pushing the king back onto the h file, right? It's much easier to mate a king on the side file, right? On the either the first or second or eighth ranks, or the A or H file. Much easier to checkmate a king there. So he played rook g3 check, and now king has two possibilities: king h5 or king h6. Now black knows that if he ventures into white's territory, it's going to be easier for him, easier for white to checkmate him. Therefore, he tries to stay as far back as possible. King h6. So now what do you think? What do you think? So there's a similar variation as we did before. Very similar.
Hmm.
Right? You all see it? So what's the move here? What do you think?
Okay. Does it include the knight?
Yes, it includes the knight. Yes.
Okay, so you move the knight to F5?
F5. Okay, so we're just gonna lose the knight there.
Oh, and I was doing so good.
Yeah.
So knight to F3.
Okay, so if we go knight F3, again, we're giving black a free move now, and
Oh,
now he can
right.
start attacking us, right? So
Right.
we don't want to do that. So what do you think? Continue the attack.
Bishop F7.
G7, bishop G7, right? That's okay. Bishop G7, yes. Good. Now we're pushing the king towards our side. King is forced to move to H5. Continue attacking.
Rook to G5.
Excellent. Rook G5. King only has one possibility, King H4. And now what do we do?
Pawn to
pawn.
G3.
Okay, pawn to G3. Actually, that does mate as well, although it's a little bit slower. Pawn G3, King H3, and now, yeah, that does mate as well. How would you mate in this position?
Okay, H5.
Sorry, I suggested it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's another variation. It's okay. What do you think? King H3, and how would you mate here?
Rook to H5.
Rook H5, King G4, and Now what?
Rook to H4.
Rook to H4 is mate. Very good. Yeah, so this is the lengthy mate. So we want to go for a quicker mate, right? So this is still mate is mate, of course, right? Mate is mate, but there's a quicker mate other than G3. What is it? Anybody see it here? Evan sees it. Evan knows this game, I'm sure. It's a very famous game.
Which game this is? What game is this?
Oh, this is 1987 Josh Waitskin. This is the first time that he played a master. His first win against master. He was probably around 9 years old at this time. Anybody see the mate? Okay, so I'll give you guys a hint, right?
One thing to think about during these checkmates, to step in a little bit, right? One thing you want to think about is flight squares, right? So right now, if you look at the black king on H4, if it was his turn, does he have anywhere to go with that king?
No.
No, right? No squares. Now, in fact, very often when I ask beginners, oh, how do you define checkmate? They tell me, it's when the king has nowhere to go. Right, which is not exactly correct, because then I actually tell them, well, in the very beginning of a chess game, is it checkmate?
That's
Like,
a good point.
no, but like, is there anywhere for the king to go? No, it's not, right? But it's important to think about flight squares, right? So right now, that makes it actually a lot easier, right? If you know that the king has nowhere to go, well, guess what? If you simply hit him, he's done.
Right.
So
Right? So how do you simply just put the king in check?
so knight to F3.
Very good.
Right, exactly.
Very
so
good.
once I say that, then it's very easy.
Yeah. So coordination of all of these pieces.
God, excuse me, not to interrupt. Russian.
Hold on, Jim.
This is still.
Yeah, Jim. The intermediate class starts at 8:15. So
You mean this is the intermediate starts at 8:15?
Yeah. We're finishing up. Okay. Evan, actually, I have one more position. Can I do that real quick before we finish up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
we need the room in 9 minutes.
Yeah. All right. We'll do one more position. So yeah, beautiful combination here by 9-year-old Josh Waitskin. Don't feel discouraged if you don't see it, because I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't have seen that combination. All right. So this is a game, 1937. Vera Menchik, who was also a previous women's world champion. This is white to move. What is the best move for white here? What do you think? Best move for white.
This is tricky.
This is a beautiful, beautiful one.
Bishop C to G6.
Bishop to. Oh no! Oh, sorry. It's white to move. Did I say that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Take it
That's
back.
okay. That's okay. It's white to move. Yeah, white to move. We need a strong move here.
Queen to H5.
Okay, Queen H5. So remember, I know all of you know this is the theme of Queen Sacrifice. You're all gonna look. How can I lose my queen the fastest? but that's why
I'm trying to clear out for the bishop.
That's why I need a variation. So queen takes. So I'm not going to move the pieces yet. Queen takes H5. G takes H5. Now, how do we proceed?
Let me actually say something here.
Go ahead.
I was actually so Danilo and I. The truth is, we both sit in the adult advanced class and learn quite a bit. And Grandmaster Mark Paragua a couple of weeks ago in it did a lesson. I don't know if you were there that week, Danilo, or not, but he did a lesson on queen sacrifices.
Oh, did he? Oh,
actually. And one of the things he was talking about in particular was, just how you need to be extremely concrete. You know, it's not the kind of thing that like, ooh, I sacked the queen and I hope, you know, I'm going to get something for it. Now, the truth is you can't even do that about, you know, a pawn either, right? Sacrificing a pawn. But, you know, especially a queen, right? You need to be like 100% sure, right? Because if you're down a queen, then, you know, you're done.
Right. Yeah, you got to be extra certain. Solid calculation. And I think a lot of beginners, they get excited when they see the possibility of sacking material because I don't know, maybe they see a lot of Mikhail Tal games, so everybody wants to sack material because it's fun. But you got to be careful because you got to have good reason to do it. So in this position, we want to open up some lines for White's pieces. So okay, so Nancy said queen takes. Okay, so I'll move it. Queen takes h5.
H5,
G takes h5, and now what do we do now?
bishop to F7,
Bishop, h7, right?
H7,
Yeah,
yeah.
very good. Bishop h7 is mate. Beautiful. Anybody know the name of this mate?
Wow.
This is a special mate, special name for this mate. Anybody know?
I don't know the name of it.
This is known as Boden's mate, or the or I also call it crisscross mate.
Excuse me, that's not what Bowden's mate is.
Okay.
That's not really.
Excuse me, Bowden mates it actually when the bishop's on a6 and there's a bishop on.
So it's well, the basic pattern I know. Boden's mate is usually on this side when your opponent castles queen side and you do maybe a bishop here and a bishop here, something like that. But the idea is like it's like an X, right? So it's like an X this way, and this kind of would be considered as Boden's mate. Okay, so that's one variation. Let's go back. So what if White does not accept the sacrifice? Let's say Black. What if Black takes the knight? Now what?
Queen to h8.
Very good. Queen h8 is mate. Yeah. So these two bishops are really doing an excellent job of really controlling these two diagonals and aiming at the king very nicely. So yeah. And one final one. Let's say Black tries to block the bishop on c3. What does White do now? What does White do now?
Isn't it the same thing?
Mm.
Queen to takes g6.
Queen here?
Wait, no, never mind.
No. Pawn just takes. What does White have now?
Is there a reason you can't mate on h7 with the queen?
Yes, Queen h7. Correct. So, yes, thank you. Queen h7 is mate. So yeah, so the combination of the bishops and the knight make for a sound queen sacrifice, right? And so there's really not much that Black can do to avert mate. I guess he can probably sacrifice a knight here and try to avert things, but yeah, he's going to lose anyway again. But yeah, beautiful example of queen sacrifice. So in conclusion, queen sacrifice, something that is very exciting to do, but make sure that you calculate very well. Not like in this lecture, don't sacrifice your queen every possible way just because it's fun. So have a good reason. So yeah, all right. Great job. So I will see you guys next week again on Monday at 7. All right.
Okay,
Well, thank you,
Thanks
everyone.
for a great, thanks for a great class.
bye.
Hi.
Sorry again about the small little technical difficulty in the beginning, but look forward to seeing everyone next week at 8. If for any reason,
Evan, I have a question. It doesn't give me an option to just leave. It says assign and leave.
oh, you just just assign me as the host.
So assign you as the host. Let me see.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna. Just end the meeting. I'm gonna open it up again.
Okay, sounds good.